one vein of conservative thought is to use the charter schools, apparently, to really press down on traditional. Speaker Tillis says, let's make traditional more like charters. How do you read that?
Well, it's interesting because as an executive director of a charter schools association, we've got to be careful not to overreact to that, because one of the purposes of the charter school law is to create innovation and excellence and translate that into the rest of the public schools so that the tide rises for all. And so, but what I don't know and why I can't answer the question is I don't know the details of that concept. District schools, LEAs all along could have converted their district schools to charters. Would they have the cooperative and innovative high schools they could do? So there were options for all these years, and so we're very curious to find out what I think Representative Lambeth, possibly of Forsyth County, who was an 18-year chair of an LEA. I think he might be the potential author of that bill, and we just need to find out what the details are before we react.
Now, you've said that charter schools are meant to be incubators of innovation, nice slogan that will help traditional schools get better, for whatever judgment value you want to place on it. But others see charter schools as an enemy and out to do in the traditional schools. What is the proper role of the charter school? Because I do hear both sentiments, and they both seem to be quite valid.
Well, I think the proof is in what parents want and citizens want across the state. We've seen the limit of the cap lifted, and we've seen charter schools with waiting lists. I think what I'll be able to be successful is when I'm over here complaining about those pesky district schools that are taking all the kids away from the charter schools. I mean, it's fair competition, and that's what for so long we haven't had that competition. We've had a one-size-fits-all attitude towards public education. Charter schools are changing that dynamic. They're creating situations that parents want. We want to see that, and then we want to see the district schools say, what do we have to do to keep these kids? What do we have to change? And it's taken charter schools and the cap being lifted to do that. So we want to find out what Forsyth County and what the speaker was referring to today. We want to hear about those details. That may be very positive. We just don't know yet.
What are your thoughts on using county tax dollars to fund the infrastructure and the capital needs of charter school campuses?
Well, it's not on our legislative agenda to ask them to do that. We've asked for some help with facilities funding. We'd like to see a per pupil allotment of $200 or $300 or $400 or $500 to help charter schools either lease or buy or upfit property. But we haven't asked the counties to do that. What we have asked for in our agenda is for the counties to be able to write a check to a charter school to help offset the facilities cost that we don't have. And that is not even in the law. So we need that first. We'd also like to share in the lottery funds. We have no idea why charter schools can't share in capital funds produced by the quote education lottery.
I thought one of the whole catches early on with charter schools is they could open a building and run it for the same money that the traditional school got per pupil. Was I wrong the whole time on that?
Well,
I mean, somebody's going to be like, we're going to run it better than you can, and we're going to show you by taking the same amount of money. Now you can take some money and build with it.
Well, again, we've not asked this. We've not asked for the counties, the LEAs, to build the facilities or the state. We are asking for some of that to help solve that deficit. If you have the same money to pay for books and teachers, but have to build a building and that infrastructure, cafeterias in some cases, buses, and we're just asking for some help. And I think we've had enough. With a decade and a half has passed, I think we're successful. I think the testing is over with. The parents are saying we want more charter schools, as evidenced by the 150-something letters of intent filed to open charter schools in 2014. So I think the counties ought to have just the ability to make a choice themselves locally whether they want to help charter schools with the funding of facilities or not. We just want them to have the option.